Hello there, I'm Big Alias, and have I quit Black Ops 4? Yes. Okay, well, thanks for watching. I'll see. Yeah, I quit Black Ops 4, man. And I want to talk about this because I think it's a very interesting topic, and I've noticed a lot of people talking about, quitting Black Ops 4 and jumping off of the bandwagon, and the game isn't, it's gone to hell and it's reached rock bottom. And I think it's an interesting topic to talk about because there are a lot of things that have there are so many birds in the garden right now. There are a lot of things that have kind of come full circle and happened that, a lot of people foresaw and that a lot of people didn't foresee. And I get to be very smug in this video because I was the sandwich board man with "the end of the world is nigh" printed on his t-shirt. I was that guy telling everybody that things are going to go wrong, and I was right. With regards to the end of the year wrap up, I think I'm going to treat this as my post-mortem of Black Ops 4, so to speak. So last year I did World War II. A year later, I would say probably treat this as Black Ops 4 a year later, unless something comes up and something else happens, or I just want to make another post-mortem. This is probably going to be it. And I know it's only 2/3 or 3/4 into its life cycle, but I think at this point now we've all sort of have enough to form our opinion on exactly what this game did for a year. So why did I quit Black Ops 4? Well, when I got the game, if you follow this channel and you followed it for a year, then you'll know that I had a lot of reservations with regards to this game. I had a lot of issues with the way that it was going, the things that they were going to do about it. Chief among all, I knew that it being multiplayer only was going to be a huge issue, and I had so many this is where I first get to be smug. I had so many conversations with people in things like comment sections and messages and speaking to people and stuff like that about how this game not having a campaign is going to be a huge issue. And people saying, no, people don't play the campaign. It's not a problem. People, they don't play the campaign. They save money. It's great. It's good. Well, firstly, it was 3 years and billions of dollars that Activision have and could put into this game, and they didn't put a campaign in. So there's no excuse there. But overall, my biggest issue with there not being a campaign, and the reason I gave to all of these people that they just did not accept, is that it not having a campaign is going to affect the overall feeling that people have towards the game. I don't think that people put campaigns in games because they think people are going to play them and they think people are going to have a good experience with the campaign anymore. I don't think people do that anymore, and you can tell by the quality of the stories and the quality of things like mission structure that that's not important to publishers anymore. They don't give a shit. But it has to be packaged in there in order for the whole package to feel like something that has weight to it, that has quality to it, and to give people something to do outside of the multiplayer, and particularly if they're not into multiplayer gaming. I think that yes, you are serving a small demographic with regards to are they going to play the campaign or not, but as a whole, as a complete package, it's important to say yes, we have a campaign as well, which is why at the end of my fairly favourable review of Black Ops 4, where I said the gameplay was actually quite good, at the end I had that Shyamalan twist where I said, regardless of the good gameplay, I can't recommend this game because there just isn't enough there. There isn't enough meat on the bone. And I think that's the biggest issue that I have with Black Ops 4. Last year I said with World War II, it was the first game since Black Ops 1 that I liked from start to finish, but the only reason that I didn't keep playing it was due to a lack of maps. Well, this is due to a lack of overall content. I don't like Battle Royale, and Apex Legends was okay for a bit, but they didn't support it enough. But Blackout, I said when I first played it, I said it was the most boring thing it was the most boring time I've ever had playing a video game. And of course, Blackout isn't the smash out success that they were hoping it would be, and Modern Warfare isn't going to have it. I said that the campaign would be an issue, and Modern Warfare is going to have a campaign and be campaign focused, and now people are excited about Modern Warfare. I don't want to sound smug, but it's so easy to look at a game like this as a black and white package and just say, well, I play multiplayer, I like multiplayer, all it needs is multiplayer. You have to think of the bigger picture and what everybody wants, rather than just people who comment on YouTube videos and you and your friend group. You have to think of it as something that has weight and has to have weight in order to become a good product. And the biggest issue for me with multiplayer was that I got really into it and I really tackled it, and I got to grounds with it. I barely played zombies because I'm not really into zombies either. So for me this really didn't have much. But I really got into multiplayer. I played a lot of it, but I was just desperately begging for any kind of context, any contextualization to the multiplayer, any reason we're here, any reason these characters, and they had those little training missions, but I mean a proper campaign, proper missions, and I was desperate to know why I am where I am, why these characters, are fighting in the way that they are, and not knowing that affects the overall feeling of the multiplayer. I know in Modern Warfare 2 and stuff like that, great masterpiece Call of Duty games, I know that you are random soldiers, you're random Spetsnaz soldiers, random Op4 soldiers, but when you're in Afghan, you're like, oh yeah, this is where I was in the last mission, and when you go through these, all the different maps, everything just feels like it has a world to it. The game felt like it had a world to it, and Black Ops 4 didn't. It just felt like a random smattering of multiplayer maps. And yes, it works with other games, like things like Crossfire and, what have you. I mean, even Fortnite has a story injected to it in some way. But, with all of these free-to-play FPSs, I mean that works because... Well, firstly, I'm not trying to sell a £50 product, but, also... It's established in that way. Call of Duty is established as a franchise that should have a story that runs through it, even if they're not connected. But sometimes even then they did connect, and they put characters from World at War in Black Ops 1 and stuff like that. A campaign is very important to Call of Duty, and especially again when you're trying to sell a £50 game. Which leads me on to my big issue with multiplayer, and that's that. These are games that come out every year. Call of Duty comes out every single year. And I think that's its biggest problem right now. And a lot of people have talked about how... I hope the mic isn't too close to me. A lot of people have talked about how the biggest issue for Call of Duty is that it comes out every year. And I definitely agree with that, because... I have done this over and over and over and over again, leveling up, and they never do anything to twist things around, to shake things up. And in an attempt to do that, you have things like new weapon skins that come out, here, now, and there, and here, and all this funky stuff that comes out. Now, if that was available to me to unlock, then perhaps it would stay more exciting, more fresh, and give me a reason to come back to it. I play other games to level as well, things like Halo 5, the Halo series, Halo 4, Halo 5, Halo 3. I played all of those leveling up constantly. I've reached the max level in Halo 4. I think I'm at level 120 something in Halo 5, which if you've ever played that, it takes a long fucking time. Halo 3, I played a ton of that and leveled, and I'm used to that. And the reason I'm okay with that is because the gap between Halo 3 and Halo 4 was 5 years. The gap between Halo 4 and Halo 5 was 3 years. The gap between Halo 5 and Halo Infinite is going to be another 5 years. So every time I come back to it, it's a new way to level and to earn, and to get a higher level and, bigger clout or whatever the hell you want to call it. And particularly when Halo 5 gave its maps away from free, then that gave me new ways to level myself, and that was great, and new things to unlock and so on and so forth. It is just the same thing 1,000 times over. I don't even know I think we're up to the 15th Call of Duty at this point, so it's just the same over and over and over again. And for someone who's been playing Call of Duty for such a long time and clearly is not the target audience that Activision want, I'm sick of it, man. I just get tired, and I don't buy into microtransactions. I think it's very interesting to me when I hear people talk about rip off microtransactions and your possibility of getting a weapon that you want in Black Ops 4 and things like that, because I sympathize, but I don't empathize, because I never get involved with unlocking things in Black Ops or in Infinite Warfare or World War II or any of the new games that have all of these loot boxes. I don't get involved in the unlocking process because it's all just trapped behind paywalls. I paid £50 for Black Ops 4. I'm not going to invest any more in it because I didn't have to 10 years ago for a better experience. The gameplay was better 10 years ago, and I didn't have to sink all of this extra money in to unlock things in order to, keep the thing fresh. So I'm not going to invest in that. I didn't want to invest, and everything that I've heard is that was a good idea because it is just out of hand, having to buy red dot sites, I think I saw a video last night where someone said, you have like a 1.5% chance of getting a weapon that you want in Black Ops 4 now. And all of this crazy stuff. And I'm so glad I didn't invest in the map pack, because the map was kind of like a sheep in wolf's clothing, where, the biggest issue that everybody had with World War II was that it was a fine game, but there were so few maps that it just got boring eventually playing on the same map over and over. And I think they kind of duped us all by saying, well, look, there's, I think, 14 maps in Black Ops 4, but 4 of them are remasters. And, when you've played Jungle over and over and over and over again, and Summit over, you've played it so many times, you played it to death. eventually it's just going to rub you the wrong way, and you're like, this is just deja vu, and I could be playing a game that has better gameplay with this map and having a much better time with this map. If only there were people in the servers, that would be great. So you kind of get a bit of repetitive strain when you're just doing the same thing over and over and over, and that really rubbed me the wrong way. And I'm not going to buy new maps if they're going to force me to buy every map in one go. I'm just not going to do that. And one of the things that sparked this conversation was that, you know, at the weekend they gave all of the maps away for free, and they gave double XP and stuff like that. And I thought, you know what, I'm going to jump in, I'm going to play it this weekend. I'll try out the new maps and see what they're like. Obviously, I'm not going to buy them because I'm not going to bulk buy maps, not knowing what I'm going to get. But I'll try them out, I'll give them a try, and I'll, you know, get level up a bit, and, you know, so on and so forth. So I did it, and I played on WMD, and I had a good time. You know, WMD is a great map. Again, I've played it 1,000 times. And then it rolled over to the next game, and it was this new map, and it was gorgeous. It was beautiful. It was interesting. It kind of reminded me a bit of a Black Ops 3 map, and I wasn't a fan of that. It was the one where it goes from grass to ice. It was grass on one side and ice on the other, and it was gorgeous. And it was one of probably the best looking Call of Duty maps ever made, and I was shocked by that. And I couldn't even make it through a game. I was just bored. I was just doing the same thing I do over and over, and I didn't get the feeling that I got anything tangible for doing it, which is crazy because I play MCC more than anything. And after that, I jumped back onto MCC and played it for fun. But the problem with Black Ops 4 is that, yes, it's good gameplay, and yes, it's old school gameplay, but it's not fun enough for me to play without getting some sort of reward, which sounds ridiculous, I know, and it's very 2019 for me to say I don't want to play it without getting a reward, but that's how it is. Yeah, it's just not fun enough for me to play without knowing that I'm going to get something that I haven't got for the past decade over and over again out of this game. It's just a level. It's leveling like it always has been, which is actually one thing that worries me about Modern Warfare. But you know, that leads me on to my next issue, which is Modern Warfare. It seems as though they really are going back to the roots for that, which is great. The roots of when Call of Duty was great. I think the biggest issue that I have with Black Ops 4, and the biggest reason I didn't want to continue playing that game that I was in, and the reason I don't still play the game, is I don't find the gameplay actually very interesting anymore. And I know at first I praised it, and I still do. I think it's good gameplay. But I don't think it holds up to how Call of Duty used to be. And I think I figured out why. I think it's because it's so fast, because it's so much more frantic. And I know it's not like the horrible, terrible exosuit days where it was ridiculous, but it is still too fast. And I think the issue there is that, well, personally for me, and for a lot of people, is that when you do that super quick over and over again, super fast, super speedy, go, go, go gameplay, at first it entices you and it's exciting and it's interesting. But eventually, your brain gets tired of just speed, go, because it becomes very randomized. The gameplay in Black Ops 4 is extremely randomized. Not as much as the exosuit days, but it is very random. It is all about going fast and jumping and sliding, jumping, going crazy. And that is quite random. There's not much logic that goes into that. And I think eventually my brain just craves something that it can sink its teeth into, and it wants something more logical. You know, the defense I always made for gaming back in the day, back in the Black Ops 1 days and stuff like that, is that it's like a chess game where you have to be one step ahead of other people. You know, a lot of people said it was mindless and stuff like that, and I said no, because you have to know where to cover, you have to know how to position yourself, you have to be one step ahead of every enemy that you bump into, and you have to be prepared for anyone to come at you. But none of those variables really play into Black Ops 4. I can just put a trip mine down and, you know, it will get in someone's way. I could just slide into someone and they won't know I'm coming, and I can shoot them then. You know, it's just, there's so much, because there's so much speed and so much go and action. I think my brain is just thirsty for something more interesting. You know, that's why I played hundreds of hours of Black Ops 1 and even Modern Warfare 3, and I think I clocked about 100 hours in Black Ops 4, which is the most I've played Call of Duty in about 5 years. But it still wasn't nearly as much as it used to be, because I'm just starved of something with more meat on the bone. And again, I don't have as many maps, and I'm not working towards anything interesting or different to anything that I've worked towards for years prior to that. You know, the microtransaction system is totally out of hand. And again, also, you know, on top of that, I know it sounds a little more subjective than objective, but I just think it feels dirty playing this game. I'm not going to support a game that stripped out its campaign and didn't bother with that. I don't think it has anything to do with money. I think it was all so that they could gear the multiplayer towards selling you things. And I think overall, you know, this game, the legacy of this game is that it was entirely geared towards being a shop. being a storefront. That's all this game was. They stripped out the campaign. Zombies wasn't even that good, and I think they knew that, and they wanted to get everyone on Battle Royale and multiplayer in order to sell, and have things to sell. Because if they have a campaign, it's going to distract people. They need to get you onto that multiplayer and push you through that funnel and sell you as many things as possible. And I'm not going to be a part of that. I don't like being a part of that. I do feel dirty playing the game. And I think a lot of people do too, which is crazy. You're hearing all of these Call of Duty gamers saying, I make a living from Call of Duty, and I feel dirty for doing it because it has such a dirty, disgusting reputation for the way that it's been handled. Am I going to quit Call of Duty altogether? The ultimate question, no, I really am not. I mean, if you saw my Modern Warfare trailer reaction sort of thing, then you'll know that I'm very excited for Modern Warfare, and hopefully it seems to be heading in the right direction, which is great. And I think, in a lot of respects, gaming is heading in the right direction, as I said in my previous commentary. And then you get things like press conferences where EA compare their product to Kinder Eggs. And it's just so frustrating. But I'm not going to talk about that because a billion people have talked about that before. Watch Jim Sterling's video on that if you want to know the lowest of the low with gaming now. But a lot of it is heading in the right direction. And I have high hopes for Modern Warfare. Hopefully I won't be having to say this about Modern Warfare a year after it came out. And hopefully it won't be so disgustingly dirty, just like Black Ops 4. Hopefully it won't be as dirty as Black Ops 4 is. It already doesn't have a Battle Royale mode, so I don't have to fall asleep playing that, and it will have a campaign, which I hear is very interesting, and that's great. So, as long as it has a campaign, I will be buying it, which I definitely didn't say about Black Ops 4 this time last year. So that's it. Those are my thoughts on Black Ops 4. That's the post-mortem. It was a mess and pretty much awful, but with some pretty good gameplay. Let me know what you think in the comments. If you disagree with me, that's absolutely fine. I think that's great, and you can talk to me about it and tell me what you think and give your input, and that's fantastic. So I will see everyone later.